To arrive, okay? Good morning. Ayun, puro the echo, no? Very disturbing, this. Very strange. It's like somebody speaks in my head, you know. And, yeah. That's me. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, a few more minutes, and then we're going to have to start. Today is not the day to be late, because it will be on camera forever. Yeah. So, you know. Good morning.
Hello.
That's okay. Okay. Good morning. Hurry up, the world is watching. Buenos días, good morning.
Morning.
Morning, morning. Nothing to worry about. You're just going to be live on campus. Yes, I guess, no? It's live now. Yeah, so, you know. Okay, shall we start? Yes? Today really is kind of a last day, no? Because tomorrow is presentation time, so it's the last day. I'm going to talk about a few concepts, okay? And as I said yesterday, I'll give you time also to work on your final project, because I want you to do something impressive, yeah? So, just to set my expectations, okay? Yeah. So, remember, we started off with System 1, System 2, the different cognitive biases and heuristics that really make our life hard when we make decisions, okay? We talk about how randomness does indeed play a role in our lives. Yesterday we talked about what? What was the topic of yesterday? Anything you want to, a quick reminder, a quick summary, a few words of what is left from yesterday?
We talk about the forecast fallacies.
Yes.
Regarding that, all that was involved in, for example, the past and the past of the past, and not making necessarily prediction about the past.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We talked about black swans.
Yes.
And how they exist,
Mm-hmm.
how we cannot predict them.
Yeah.
About known knowns,
Yeah.
known unknowns, and unknown knowns.
Yeah.
That we have to need to separate them.
Yes. To know where you are when you're about to make a decision. Okay. The tendency we have is to treat unknowns as well, known unknowns as known unknowns. Okay. It's much easier, right? Anything else?
And also we talked about planning fallacy.
Mm-hmm.
We want to think that our prayer will always succeed,
Yeah.
but sometimes it doesn't happen. So we
True.
need some techniques to
Yeah.
think that it might not work.
Indeed.
And
Yeah.
to have some
Mhm.
strategies to
Yeah. This is so true for the project managers around here in the classroom, okay? Yeah. Good. So today we're going to talk about intuition. Yeah. I mean, very often we hear in the media and everywhere else that, intuition has a role to play in our decision making. Is it true? Are you intuitive people? Yes? Who thinks or who relies on their intuition here? You're supposed to be rational, but you're intuitive also. Who is the most intuitive? Yes? You like intuition?
In decisions I cannot make on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to go to intuition.
Okay.
But also to what you said about the past task and the past.
Yeah. Okay. So we have some intuitive people here. Yes?
In some scenarios, for
Yes.
example, when you think that, I don't know, you have a feeling that, or you have something in your gut, but most of the time, I think no. But
Yeah.
there are some few times.
Okay. So when you have a feeling that something is right and you base your decision on this, anybody else is relies on their intuition?
Like for me, intuition sometimes like you just know that something is true,
Yes.
but you don't have to explain, just feel it.
Yeah.
Of course you could explain it if you are reflecting about it, but
Yeah.
you don't even need to do that because you already know it.
Okay. So an intuition, like one from you to say, it's a feeling, something you do, but you don't really like where it's coming from. It's hard to explain. Okay. Yeah. Anybody else wants to? Are you intuitive? There. Yes.
Probably just when I'm playing or
Yeah.
I don't know, gambling or stuff.
You're gambling?
Well, usually I play cards with my friends.
Okay,
so
okay.
Probably I will gamble and I will
Yeah.
be feeling my intuition in that moment, but not professionally actually.
Okay. Okay.
Only when it's something relaxing.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. Anybody else wants to share their view on intuition? So we're going to talk about this morning. Okay. Can we really rely on our intuition? And if not, when can we rely on our intuition? Okay. Can we really trust this or not? Okay. That's very important because I can see that most people think that sometimes there's nothing else but our intuition to guide in our decision making. Okay. So let's explore this together this morning. Okay. So first, a few words about gurus. Okay. We like those books, no? We like those books that tell us, or provide us with some recipes. Okay, this is the way I should manage. This is the way I should do that. This is the way I should create a company. This is the way I should do this and this. Okay, books that are written very often by serious people. Okay, yeah. But it's just a bit of a warning on this. Okay, and you're going to understand this very quickly. Okay, in our context. In the context of this class, okay? One of the famous one is Built to Last, or Search for Excellence, for that matter. That was written in '92. It was sold, by the millions all over the world, okay? And what did Tom Peters do? Basically, he did a study of 47 best at the time companies in the world, right? Saying, I'm going to look at the 47 best companies in the world. I'm going to try to understand why they are so successful, and then I'm going to write a book about it, okay? Saying, basically, implicitly, if you want to be a successful company, you should do this, and this, and that, right? Okay? Millions of people bought this book, right? Now you're able to tell me what's wrong with this today. What's wrong with this book? Okay? Yeah.
47 is a very small amount, it's a very small sample.
To start with, 47 companies, even if they are the best in the world, we have millions and millions and millions of companies in the world, okay? So first, it's a small sample. What else?
History.
History, yes.
So it talks about that occurred in the past, not necessarily.
Exactly, yeah. You know, it's not because they have been successful that they are going to be successful in the future. Definitely right, okay? What else?
They don't talk about the companies that didn't make it, the companies that failed.
Exactly, remember the survival bias, okay? He only looked at companies that have survived, okay? What about those that died, okay, right? And actually, if you make a list of those 47 companies today, okay, well, many have disappeared, by the way, okay? Very few are still the best companies in the world. It's interesting, no? Okay, 30 years later, okay? So, when you look at those books, even if they are written by academics, that was not bad research, okay? Right? The problem is that we tend to make inferences based on something that is too small and biased, okay? The story was interesting. The inferences we could make out of it, this is where you have to be extremely careful, okay? So when you see those books on the shelf, you know, bestsellers, be critical, okay? What's going on there, you know? What is the sample size, right? Was the research rigorous, okay? Can I infer anything from my own activities, my own business, my own role as a manager, right? Okay? So just a little comment, because we see now today more and more, you know, of those books, and you need to be critical about all of this. Right. So intuition. Should we play? Take a piece of paper, I guess, because you're going to have to do a few exercises. Take a piece of paper. And let's play a game, a few games actually. Yeah? Don't spend too much thinking about the answer, okay? Meaning, you know, now I know you because you know the trick, okay? So let your system 1 play, okay? Okay, otherwise it's not cheating, but now you know the rules of the game, you know, what can I do? Nothing about it. It's good news in a way because now you're going to do it more often, okay? Right, so are you ready? You all have a piece of paper? Okay, can you see? Okay, so some puzzles. A bat and a ball cost $1.10 in total. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? Just write it down. Just write it down, okay? But do it quickly. You're not allowed to write an equation, okay? Just write down what came up in your mind, okay? Yeah? Done? Yeah? Okay, next one. If it takes 5 machines 5 minutes to make 5 widgets, how long would it take 100 machines to make 100 widgets? Same. Do it quickly. Done? Yeah? Last one. In a lake, there's a patch of lily pads. Every day the patch doubles in size. If you take 48 days for the patch to cover the entire lake, how long would it take for the patch to cover half of the lake? And again, do this quickly. We done? Okay. So, first answer. Quick. Question 1. 10 cents. I cannot go closer to the board, but when I go closer to the board, everything's going to explode. Okay? So, let's see if it works. Okay, 10 cents. Okay. For some, it's 5 cents. Okay. What about question 2? What about question 2? 100? 100 widgets?
5 minutes.
How long does it take? Yeah, it's a time, no? How long does it take? Not 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And question 3?
47.
Everybody 47? You sure? I'm not sure. Yeah, no, I'm sure that you say 47. I just want to... This one is easy because you've done this in the past, okay? Yeah. And the problem is, since you have so many engineers here, that's the trick, okay? But when they test this, on different people, you guys, a bit more on the, scientific side. But when you do the test to the MIT guys or the other guys, they are as wrong as anybody else, okay? So it doesn't really matter if you are more scientifically oriented than others. You get it wrong, okay? Yeah. So you see, when you are late live on TV. Yeah. Good morning. Welcome. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at the answers. But the quick, intuitive answer here, of course, it's 10 cents. Okay? Right? The true answer, as somebody said, is 5 cents. Okay? But most people, and I show you the solution here, of course. When you look at the solution, it's obvious, no? It's 5 cents. But your system 1 is saying 10 cents, basically. Okay? Right? Okay? Who said 5 cents? Somebody said 5 cents. Okay, you? Right. Only one person in this one. This is tricky one, this one. No? Okay. But now you see, obviously, why it is 5 cents. Okay? Now, the widget problem, 5 minutes. Most of you got 5 minutes. Yes. Some of you may not. I don't want to know who. Okay? Just... I just want to make sure that not everybody got 5 minutes, because then, yeah, I'm pretty sure not everybody got 5 minutes, okay? Your brain, the answer must be 100, okay? And somebody said 100 to me, okay? Right? But it is actually 5 minutes, right? Again, system 1 is, of course, if you think about it, you put system 1 into play, then you get the right answer. But your intuitive system 1 answer is usually wrong. Okay, this one you've seen. I think you've seen this problem so often. Okay, that. But what is the answer usually people give? 24. Okay, they divide by 2. Okay, yeah, and then right. So you see, even for simple problems, okay, sometimes it's hard to get the right answer. Okay, right, right. And then when system 1 is alone, we get it wrong, okay? Right? So, let's talk about intuition. The Getty, Kouros, is a famous statue that is in the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, okay? It's fairly tall, eh? It's, twice my size, huge piece. That was bought by the Getty Museum in 1985 for $9 million, okay? So it's not a small piece, okay? It cost a lot of money. And what happened? It was displayed, it is displayed at the entrance of the museum, okay? It's fairly imposing, very nice statue, okay? And of course, many people come to see it, many experts came to see it, and some experts started to have doubts. They said, we're not sure this is real. It may be a fake, okay? We don't know why, but we have a feeling, our intuition is telling us that this statue is a fake, okay? So you can imagine for the Getty Museum, right? They've just spent $9 million on something, and you have people telling them this could be a fake. Oops, right? So they, there was a big discussion about this. They did some tests, right, to see if the statue was really a real statue or fake, right? And, you know, it's still in the air, right? It's still in the air. It's not proven yet, okay? That's the problem, right? But the interesting part was this intuition from the experts, okay, that triggered this whole story, right? And when the people were asking the experts, but how do you know that it's fake? They said, it's just a feeling. My intuition tells me this is fake, okay? Right? This is still being debated, eh? We still don't know if it's fake or not. But the Getty Museum still has spent $9 million on the thing, okay? So, right? Tricky. So, let's talk about, before we go back to intuition, let's talk about how we learn, okay? Right? How do we acquire skills and experience? Because this is important, okay? Most of you have been in the same job for a while, true or not? Or you're new to your jobs? No, you've been in the same job for a while, okay? So you consider yourself as having quite a bit of experience in what you're doing? You're confident with this? Yeah? Yes? Yeah, true, no? Remember when you first started, no? The difference between when you first started and now, okay? Now you know your environment, you know the people, you know how it works, you know the politics, you feel fairly confident. That does help definitely in decision making, no? You doubt much less about what you have to do as when you first started, okay? Right? So we do learn from experience. And of course, the more emotional is the learning experience, the stronger the learning is, right? Okay? And sometimes fear is a good experience also, okay? Right? So we acquire experience, we're learning, we feel more confident, okay? So far, so good. Does that make you experts? That's a question, okay? Expertise is in the eyes of your colleagues, okay? Somebody will say, he's the expert because he knows what he's doing, and in situations such and such and such, is proven to be the best person to do the job at the right moment, okay? You cannot tell that you are an expert. You cannot describe yourself as an expert, okay? Unless everybody else around you tells you you're the expert. Expertise is in the eyes of the beholder. Not on the beholder, but on the eyes of your peers, okay? That's where expertise comes from, okay? Right? If you are recognized as the expert, then you're the expert. But you cannot declare yourself as the expert. That's important. So, to go back to the way we're making decisions, okay? Right? In a fast-paced, complex, and unpredictable environment, okay? We have two schools. I don't know if you have time to read the paper that I put online, okay? We have two schools about this, okay? Two views, right? And one of the views that is proposed by Klein, which has studied firefighters, pilots, police, okay, chess players, they all have to make quick decisions, okay, in a very unpredictable environment, right? Fast decisions, life at stake, okay? How do they do it? That's the question, okay? How do they manage to make the right decision so quick? Okay, that was the challenge, okay? How can you explain this, right? So what Klein proposed is that those people that are experts, that have had a long experience doing the same job, okay, have developed a wide range of solutions in their brain, okay, right? And when the situation they face is fitting one of those experience, they pick it up, they test and simulate in their head very quickly if the solution works. If the solution works, they do it. If it doesn't, they pick up another possible solution until they find the right solution, okay, right? That's what they call the recognition prime decision model, okay? So they're not going to explore every single possibilities, right? But based on the experience, they have a range of experience big enough to go and identify which one to pick, choose, test, and then act, okay? Right? So that's an interesting model. Chess players are like this, okay? chess players, expert chess players, have about 50 to 100,000 moves in their head, okay, right? Compared to a novice that, I mean, me, I probably have 5 moves or 2 moves, right? So the chess player is not testing every single possibility like the old computer program does, okay, right? The computer program will test every single possibility and moves ahead. The chess player has a range of possibilities. He recognizes that's a possible move. He tests it in his head. If it does fit, he applies it or not. Same for the pilot. Same for the firefighter, okay, that decide to go in or out very quickly, right? So you see this model of decision making. What does it tell us? It tells us that I can decide quickly and well and efficiently only and only if I have experience. Because if I don't have experience, I don't have this wide range of patterns in my head, I have nothing to choose from. Okay? Right? Okay? So you see the role of experience already start to emerge in your decision making. No experience, the decision making is going to be harder. Okay? Because you won't be able to benefit from this. Right? So this is a good definition of intuition, to go back to intuition. Okay? And try to see if it fits your own definition in your head. The situation, I provided a cue. The cue has given the expert access to information stored in memory, and the information provides the answer. Intuition is nothing more and nothing less than recognition. Okay? That's the key. Intuition is nothing more or less than recognition. If you don't have experience, if you don't have lived this before, there's no intuition possible. Okay? In other words, you start to understand that if you knew on a job, knew in a situation, knew in an environment, you cannot rely on your intuition. Okay? Because you are not going to recognize any pattern that you could have learned. You follow me? Right? So intuition is good, and we're going to see this in a minute, but only and only if you have this experienced, lived experience, okay, not something you've read about, acquired, okay? So, this is critical, okay? Because now you have a test for you to know when you rely on your guts, on your intuition, and when you shouldn't rely on your intuition, okay? You need an environment that is sufficiently regular to be predictable, right? Why? Because you need to be able to recognize the patterns you've learned through your experience, okay? If the environment is not predictable and stable, you cannot rely on your intuition. And we see there are tons of jobs that fit this description, okay, in a minute. You need also an opportunity to learn those regularities through prolonged practice. It's all about practice, okay? The more you've done the same job, okay, that's practice. And practice means action. Okay, you live it every day, right? You need this. Third, well, that's example of those: chess players, physicians, athletes, nurses, firefighters. Okay, those, at least when they have developed some experience, can rely on their intuition, and they do. There's plenty of examples. Nurses, for instance. Okay, nurses that were able to detect that some babies were newborns, were in danger. Okay, even before any protocol or any doctors would detect that the baby was in a bad situation. Okay, because the nurse had seen so many babies. Okay, that they knew even before everybody else that the baby needed attention. Okay, and when you would ask those nurses, how do you do it? They say, I have no idea. I just know the baby needs urgent attention. Okay, it's amazing, right? Right now. Who cannot you trust? Okay? Who cannot you trust on their intuition? The people playing on the stock market. You know, the people telling you you should buy this stock and buy this stock. Why? Because the environment is not predictable. Okay? Okay? They cannot learn anything, right? In terms of which stock to pick and what is the best, right? So be aware of this. Economists. Hopefully there are no economists. Yeah, we know there's no economists in this room, okay? Remember the slide I showed you about the Citibank graph, okay, we know that economists are struggling to predict the future, okay? Why? Because it's changing all the time. The environment is not predictable. So if it's not predictable, you cannot build expertise, experience, and then you cannot rely on your intuition, okay? So what I'm asking you is to think about what you do, okay? And make sure that you understand that in some situation you can indeed use your intuition. Recruiting, for instance, okay? Recruiting, you can use your intuition or not. Only if you've had recruited many people, okay? That's okay, right? But for some situation, you have to make sure, hang on. My intuition tells me this, I have to be careful, okay? This is not the time for me to use my intuition in this situation because, you know, it's not predictable, I don't have an experience on the matter. Let's engage system 2 and then step back and try to be more rational. However, sometimes you know, for some of your activities that you've dealt with in the past many times, then you can rely on intuition. But you have to make sure you understand which one. That's the key. Okay? So, those are the questions you may want to ask yourself. Okay? Right? How much expertise does she have in this particular task? How much practice have you got? Okay? We're talking, be careful, it's always about practice. It's about doing, interactions. Okay? Regularity of your environment. Has your environment provided you with a regular enough environment so you can learn things? Okay? If it's changing all the time, the learning is extremely difficult, right? Okay? Right? Subjective confidence, okay? No. You know, I know, I feel it, I know the answer, I know I'm right. No. Sorry, okay? You have to challenge this, okay? You have to challenge this in yourself, but in others. When somebody tells you, don't worry, I know no, it's okay. Challenge. Tell me why you think your intuition is right now, okay? And if the person convinces you that indeed they have expertise, they have, you know, practice on the matter, then you can trust their expertise and their intuition. Otherwise, you say, no. Let's go further, okay? Right? And an opportunity to learn is important. But learning is only effective if we have feedback, okay? You do feedback, good, bad, and this is how you learn. If there's no feedback, there's no learning, okay? And learning meaning good learning. You can learn in a bad way also, that's the problem. So to improve your learning, to have good learning, you need positive or negative feedback on what you do, okay? Otherwise, you can have negative learning, right? Okay? So keep this in mind about your intuition. And I know we all do it, okay? We are all very intuitive. We all make decisions based on intuition. But for the big decisions, you have to make sure you understand where you stand on this, okay? Yeah? Does it make sense? Yes? So now when one of your collaborators, your boss tells you, you know, I'm going to use my intuition, you have enough material to challenge their, their opinion, right? Okay? Right. Shall we do a little exercise? Yes? Let's take a piece of paper. I didn't cut the never mind. We'll do it in a different way. Let's do a little exercise. Take a piece of paper. Yeah, I'm going to have them draw. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So take a piece of paper, take your best pen because you're going to have to draw something. Okay? Yes. You know. Take your best pen, your best paper. Write your name on the paper because I'm going to collect this. It's not about grading, I just want to know who's done what, okay? Don't worry, it is totally penless at the beginning. Right. You ready for this? Okay. Now please draw me a bicycle. A bicycle? A bicycle. Draw me a bicycle. Okay? Draw me a bicycle. No cheating, eh? No going online to see, okay? Do you have a picture of a bicycle on your computer? No. Close it down. That's cheating.
I was starting to like this class.
Wait, it's not finished yet. So no cheating. Yeah, put it, no, yeah, draw, put the, yeah, you're right. Put the frame, yeah, thank you. Put the chain, the pedals and the frame. Yes, oh, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, for me. Yeah. I forgot about this yet. Thanks. Okay. You're drawing it, somebody is going to have to build it, okay? Okay. And don't forget to put your name on the piece of paper. Of course, this is not good at all for live streaming of a classroom because nothing is happening. So I'll try to fill the blank. Hello, I can tell a little joke. For those who are watching, you know, my students are great, okay? Believe me. They're the best. And right now, they are all drawing a bicycle. That's what you do in my class, okay? So when you're ready, you're just going to hand your piece of paper to me. Okay? Don't worry, I will not show your drawings to the camera, or maybe I should. And then your reputation is gone forever. You done? Yeah? Okay. I think I'm going to love this. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Muchas gracias. Oh, we're going closer to thank you. Thank you. Uh-huh. I shouldn't laugh, really. This is better than I expected, really. You know? Okay. This is just great. Thank you. Thank you. Ah, okay, we got some experts. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Like an old school bike.
I'm going to keep this, okay? I have to keep this, okay? Because this is fantastic. There's one more, no? Roslyn hasn't finished yet, no? Just one bicycle, eh? You don't have to do... I'm not asking you for more, okay? Yeah? Okay. Wow. Okay. Now, thank you, eh? I shouldn't laugh, but yes, because I'm not sure, I've never done the test myself, so I don't know what I would do, but okay. I'm going to put a pile of bicycles that are going to work, okay? Meaning if I give this to somebody and say, build it, you're going to be able to do something, and a pile where, you know, no, this is not going to work, okay? In the middle, I'm not sure. This definitely is not going to work. This is going to work. This is, no, it's not going to work. This is going to work. This, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that if I sit on this, I will survive. This is strange. This, I'm not sure this is going to work. That's not bad. No. Yes. Whoa. That's the bicycle from the 18th century, this, okay? But that's okay. This is interesting. That will work. That is going to work. This, no, absolutely not. Sorry. This now, this now, this now, this has no chain, and this now. So we have less than 10 working bicycles, okay? So, you know, I've got your names, by the way. I'm not going to tell you who's done what. But it's very interesting, no? Shall I show? No, I don't want to embarrass you, okay? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Don't laugh, because, you know, this is nice also. The chain goes from the front wheel to the back wheel also. That's fairly typical also, okay? Yeah. Here, it's strange also, but, you know, just give you a few examples, okay? Right? There's no chain, no. Let's see. This is nice also. Okay. Yeah. And so on, okay? Yeah. But it's weird, no? I mean, you all know how to ride a bicycle, right? You've ridden bicycles many times, no? Okay? I mean, how many times have you seen a bicycle? Quite a lot, right? So what's going on here? Okay? You should know, okay, how to at least draw a bicycle, how a bicycle works, okay? Don't you find it strange? No? And surprising? Yeah. Okay? So what's going on here? Well, it's a tendency that we believe that we understand how things work more than we actually do. Okay? Right? And that's, I guess, I make my case in point here, okay? Right? If I would have asked you, do you know how a bicycle works? You said, oh, come on, you know, we're talking about a bicycle. Now I've asked you to draw one, and clearly you have no idea, at least most of you, how a bicycle works, okay? So this is problematic, this tendency that we have that we understand things, okay? And we don't, right? Okay? So this is called the illusion of explanatory depth, okay? So we have the illusion that we understand, okay? The bicycle was a good example, okay? We believe we know how stuff works because we can explain it when they are there, okay? But when they're not there anymore, we don't know how they work, okay? So in our work, it can be extremely dangerous, okay? Because we may think we know about something, not about bicycles, okay? But about the way our company works, about even technical stuff work, and actually we don't, okay? And we are going to make decisions based on this illusion of knowledge, okay? Right? So that's tricky, okay? Should we have a look at the bikes? So that's cool because those guys try to actually build and draw better the drawings that are done by the people, okay? Right? Nobody did this here, but you see this is what could have happened. This we have. Yeah. There was a program on TV where people actually built the real stuff and they were showing the stuff to the people. No? You draw this is what you end up with, of course, and you have funny things here, okay? Yeah. Another example. If I ask you, how a helicopter flies, you say, no, it's obvious. You have this, I know, okay? Right? You believe this is what you know, okay? But if I ask you, write it down, this is what's going to happen. You have something and something that turns, okay, with and that's about it, okay? And this for everybody, okay? How does your zip, a zip, work? Something you zip every day, at least the boys, okay? Right? You zip your trousers up every day. If I ask you, do you know how a zip works? You're going to say, of course I know how a zip works, okay? I zip my trousers up every day. Now if I ask you, tell me how it works. So how does it work? Yeah, tricky, no? Yeah? But if you think about it, yes, maybe, you know, this. Okay, so this is pervasive. Okay, this illusion that we understand the world around us, okay, it's an illusion. And the test is, well, explain it to me, okay, right? And you know about this, okay? You know, the best way to really know that you understand something is to teach it, okay? If you cannot teach it, means, you know, you don't understand it, okay, right? So it's a fair test, right? So, what can we do about this? And I'd like to spend a bit of time on this because I think this is fairly important, okay? First, make sure you know what you don't know, or believe you don't know, okay? It's a difficult exercise, because we are paid to know. We are paid to at least give the illusion that we understand, and then we know, okay? Again, it varies among culture, okay, right? I know, you know, at least in Europe, France, Spain, and other countries that are very engineering, okay, oriented, you're supposed to know, okay, right? As an engineer, you know, and if you don't know, you're not good, okay, right? Other cultures are a bit less oriented to this, so the exercise coming from you to identify what you don't know, it's not an easy exercise, but you have to do it. Okay, right? Because if you don't know what you don't know, how are you going to learn new things? Okay, right? So first of all, you know, as I say, teaching is a wonderful way to identify your gap on your own knowledge. Okay, right? So if you think you need something for your activity, okay, the best way is I'm going to teach this. Okay, really. Teach it to your kids, to your partner, to anybody, okay? And if you manage to teach to your grandmother, it's even worse because, you know, then, you know, or to your kids. If you cannot teach to your kids any concept, then you don't know it, okay? That's Feynman. You know, the physician is strong about this. If you cannot teach your grandmother or your kids about any concept, you don't understand anything about it, okay? Even quantum physics or whatever, okay? Yeah. Accept concept to yourself. You learn them, okay? Self-teaching, that's key also. Remember, I'm pretty sure that you are constantly learning, okay? You're learning here, you're learning, and your professional life is not over. You're going to carry on learning and learning new concepts, new methods, okay? So self-teaching is good, okay, right? To make sure you understand where you are. That is great. Collaborative learning, okay? It's nice to learn alone, but also it's nice to learn in a group, okay? Learning occurs from you, but learning occurs also when you interact with people, okay? No interaction, that's why we put you in groups to work, okay? Because a lot of learning occurs when you interact with people, okay? It broadens your point of view, it does identify what you know, what you don't know, and there's always somebody who has a better way of explaining things, okay? So you learn better. So at work or outside work, you know, try to work and learn in groups. Right. Okay. That's heavy, okay, this, but I think it's critical, okay? Do I really understand what I don't know? It's a different type of question. I'm not asking you to identify what I know. I'm asking you to identify what I don't know. Different type of question. And I need to know to perform in my job, okay? Difficult exercise, right? And then, you know, learn, but really learn. And the test, the ultimate test is if you can teach it to somebody, explain it simply, you master it, okay? Yeah? So I'm going to keep this. I'm going to scan it and put it on my Facebook page. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a Facebook page, okay? But this is wonderful, okay? Yeah? Thank you. It's a nice gift. Don't worry, I will not show it to anybody. Unless they pay me the right price, of course. Yeah? So I will keep this on the side there, okay? And let's see. Yeah, now we're gonna move to the end. Okay, we're getting close to the end, and the idea is, as a summary of everything we've seen, okay, is for you to become a skeptic empiricist. Okay. The skeptic part, clearly you understand it now. Okay, meaning I want to move away when it's important from my system 1 to my system 2. That's being a skeptic. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be critical. I'm going to step back, right? Not all the time, because remember that it does consume a lot of resources, okay? The one I have to make important decisions, I have to make sure that my system 1 is not the one who is going to make a decision, okay? So you postpone it the next day, you step back, take time to think, okay? And engage system 1, okay? Engage system 2, sorry, okay? And also engage other people around you, okay? Decision making alone, not a good idea. Okay, right? So as a manager, as you go higher and higher, okay, you cannot rely on your own brain to make big decisions. Okay, you have to rely on other people's brain. Okay, and surround yourself with people that are very different from you. The tendency for many managers is that, you know, I'm going to pick the one that always agree with me. No. Okay, you want to be surrounded by people who think differently from you. Okay, that's important, right? Otherwise, again, your decisions are going to be biased. Okay, right? Remember, if you're the boss, ultimately you're the one who's going to make the decision. Okay, but you want to have a broad set of opinions on the topic enough, okay, to make a rational and good decision. That's important. So that's what we do, okay? I like this picture because that's us, okay, facing the world. It's a big mess, okay? It's changing all the time, right? It's going fast. I don't have, you know, I've got pressure from my boss, from my company, from my family to do things. I have to make quick decisions. It is hard, okay? It is tough, okay? Yeah, you know. And we have to survive all this, okay? Right? So, what you see is all there is. Remember this? If system 1 doesn't see it, it is not going to be available for your decision making. Okay? Okay? Case in point from what I've just told you about making sure you are surrounded by people who have different opinions. Okay? Broaden your perspectives. System 1, the fast one. System 2, the rational one. Okay? Keep this in mind. So, what I cannot see is not there. That's for sure. So if I need to see more, I need to explore more, I need to step back, sideways, okay, to get more data. What I cannot understand does not exist. Okay? Yeah, again, system 1, remember system 2 is lazy. Okay, so I'm going to find an easier answer to my complex answer. Okay? I mistake the unknown for the non-existent. Again, that's system 1. Okay? Right? Yeah. Complex systems do not need complicated regulations and intricate policies. That's surprising, no? Okay. When we see companies the way they work and they build, okay, they add layers and layers and layers of complexity. Okay. Every time you add a new department to your organization, where you add as many connections to this organization, this department to the rest of the organization, so you increase the level of complexity exponentially. Okay, the question you have to ask yourself, do I really need to increase this complexity in my organization? Okay, and the word, and I come back to this, is simplicity, simplify. Okay, right? A key word is, you know, let's try to simplify what we do, our processes, the way we work, our interactions, okay, and not add stuff. That's what we all do, most companies do, okay, when it doesn't work. I think there's a good case, it's Renault. Renault, you know, as any car company, they have quality problems, okay? So if you have a quality problem, well, you build a new quality department. Up, 10 people, you're going to be in charge of solving the quality problem of Renault, okay? So you add a new layer, a new boss, a new set of indicators, complexity, you spend money trying to solve your quality problem, okay? What Renault did with the help of a consultant is the following. We don't need to add a new layer of complexity. We don't need to add a new quality department. What we're going to do is the following. Is that the people who design, who are responsible for designing the cars, are going to be in charge of the customer service 3 years later. You follow me? Right? You see the point? I'm designing the car today, and 3 years later, I'm going to be responsible for customer service. Okay? Meaning that when I'm responsible for designing the car, I'm going to start thinking already about the problems I'm going to have as responsible for customer service. Okay? It's about responsibility. It's about collaboration. I don't need to add a new layer. I just need the people more responsible for what they do, okay, and collaborate with each other. That's one solution possible. The case of Renault is interesting. Less is more and usually more effective. That's what I've just talked about, okay? Of course, simplicity is tough, eh? It's much harder to simplify than just complexify, definitely. Okay, and I think your role as a manager is to think about how can I simplify all this stuff. And you know your life. I mean, if I ask you to list what is complex and irrelevant and useless in your company, the list will be very long, no? Right or not? Okay? And I'm sure you have plenty of ideas how to simplify all this. Okay? But it's hard because people don't want to change, of course. Now, accept empirical evidence, meaning I welcome anything that comes from practice, from experience. Okay? Right? The rest, I'm going to have to be extremely careful about it. Okay? Historical evidence is only a partial indicator. Remember, do not trust history. Okay? History is not an indicator of the future. Right? It could be, but you have to be careful. Do not rely on the past to predict the future. That's the idea here, okay? Something that is difficult to do is to admit, never admit to know the truth fully. Okay? How many times have you said to your boss or your colleagues, I don't know? Is it allowed? Is it allowed or not? Yeah? To say I don't know? Yes? It's okay? Depends. Yeah. So if you don't know, you don't know. That's it. Okay? Right. Sometimes, depending on the culture, of course, your company, sometimes it's accepted, sometimes, it's encouraged. But it depends. Right? Again, only fully consider evidence that disputes a claim. Well, that's referring to what kind of bias? Or confirmation bias. Okay? We tend to look for information that are going to confirm our beliefs. Okay? As I want to look for information that is going to disconfirm my belief. Okay? So if all the information on the people tells you, yes, you're right, beautiful project, is going to work, wonderful, say, there's something wrong. Okay? Step back, challenge. Maybe maybe they're right. But if you don't do that, the likelihood that you are being biased by this confirmation thing is high. Okay? We talked about randomness. Okay? So make sure you understand that you are going to be fooled by randomness. Okay? Sometimes it's difficult to understand what this randomness is, but it is there. Okay? Right? Where it is, it's up to you to identify. Yeah? That's key. I think the next one we talked about it, okay? Who is good at explaining the future or not? And the last one is key also. System 1 is about your emotions, okay? So it's not, the discussion is not about, is it good to be emotional or not? That's a different matter. That's a different class, okay? The question is, when I make a decision, what is my emotional state? Okay? Is this again system 1 deciding, or is it system 2? Okay? Right? And we are all emotionally, different. Some topics are going to start us up, some others not. Okay? But we need to understand if we are emotional or not, and the consequences of our decision making. Right. About the future forecasting, we need plans, we need strategies, we need models, okay? But I like this, the best model of a cat is a cat, okay? A model is just a simplification of the reality. Okay? But it's fine. But we need to understand this. It is only a simplification of reality. Okay? Right? And we need to accept this and understand the limitation of our models. That's the key. Okay? Right? Train yourself to spot the difference between the sensational and the empirical. Okay? Again, that's about the emotion. Okay? About the availability bias. Okay? It's not because something is recent, talked a lot, that this is true. Okay? At the end, you have no option but to embrace uncertainty. Okay? You cannot fight it. You cannot believe that you're going to be in control of the environment. So relax, sit back. The world is uncertain. I cannot predict the future. Okay? Right? I do what I can, and that's it. Right? That will be a big step. Okay? And finally, try, and try, and try, and try. Okay? Experiment. Experiment with the way you work, experiment with the way you manage your colleagues, experiment with the way you organize your company. Okay? Experiment. That's the only way to learn. Okay? Trial and error. Yeah? Okay? A lot of things to do, eh? And also try to draw a better bicycle for next time. Okay? So I'm pretty sure when you go home tonight, you're going to say, you're going to take your bicycle from the garage, you're going to say, yes, that's how it works, okay? Yeah.
About simplicity, there's a funny story, like in 1966 or 1967, when
Yes.
there were the race between the URSS and the US to get into the moon and to go into space. The US spent so much money in building a pen that could ride in space.
Yes.
And they spent like $1 million, and they designed this pen that works really that really works in space.
Yes.
And URSS only spent 10 cents.
Yeah.
Because they use a pencil.
A pencil.
Yeah.
That's it. That's typical.
Simplicity always like helps.
True. That's a great example. Yeah, that's a great example. Okay. But again, the key is that, we are paid to be creative, to provide some new things, some new ideas, okay? A pencil is not sexy, okay? Right? I'm an engineer, you're an engineer, your solution is a pencil. No. Okay? Right? So to step out of this state of mind is tricky, okay? But it's the key, eh? You can see those big companies, okay, that are on the stock market. Have a look at their webpage, their mission, their strategy, their vision. You can see appear more and more the word simplicity, okay? You have to simplify. Now you ask them what they actually do about it. Tough, very hard, okay? Very, very hard, right? Shall we look at, watch a quick video maybe? I like this video, okay? Because it's about try and error, okay? I'm not sure this is good for live streaming, I don't know, we'll see. But you've been good audience, eh? So let's see. Let me launch this, make the sound, let's stop this. Maybe it's too hard. See if, I don't know, like this. It works like this, okay. So it's a TED Talk. It's in English, but I'm going to put, I think automatically put the subtitle in Spanish, so it should work. We're going to skip but I don't have the sound for some reason. Okay. So, is there no?
No, that's fast.
Doesn't work. There's no sound. There's no sound. I have sound here. Okay. Tell me if you hear at the back.
It's the Second World War. A
German prison camp, and this man, Archie Cochrane, is a prisoner of war and a doctor, and he has a problem. The problem is that the men under his care are suffering from an excruciating and debilitating condition that Archie doesn't really understand. The symptoms are this horrible swelling up of fluid under the skin, but he doesn't know whether it's an infection, whether it's to do with malnutrition. He doesn't know how to cure it. And he's operating in a hostile environment, and people do terrible things in wars. The German camp guards, they've got bored, they've taken to just firing into the prison camp at random for fun. On one particular occasion, one of the guards threw a grenade into the prisoner's lavatory while it was full of prisoners. He said he heard suspicious laughter. And Archie Cochrane, as the camp doctor, was one of the first men in to clear up the mess. Oh, one more thing. Archie was suffering from this illness himself. So the situation seemed pretty desperate, but Archie Cochrane was a resourceful person. He'd already smuggled vitamin C into the camp, and now he managed to get hold of supplies of Marmite on the black market. Now, some of you will be wondering what Marmite is. Marmite is a breakfast bread, beloved of the British. It looks like crude oil. It tastes zesty. And importantly, it's a rich source of vitamin B12. So Archie splits the men under his care as best he can into two equal groups. He gives half of them vitamin C. He gives half of them vitamin B12. He very carefully and meticulously notes his results in an exercise book. And after just a few days, it becomes clear that whatever is causing this illness, Marmite is the cure. So Cochrane then goes to the Germans who are running the prison camp. Now you've got to imagine at the moment, forget this photo, imagine this guy with this long ginger beard and this shock of red hair. He hasn't been able to shave, a sort of Billy Connolly figure. Cochrane starts ranting at these Germans in this Scottish accent, in fluent German, by the way, but in a Scottish accent. And it explains to them how German culture was the culture that gave Schiller and Goethe to the world, and he can't understand how this barbarism can be tolerated, and he vents his frustrations. And then he goes back to his quarters, breaks down and weeps, because he's convinced that the situation is hopeless. But a young German doctor picks up Archie Cochrane's exercise book and says to his colleagues, this evidence is incontrovertible. If we don't supply vitamins to the prisoners, it's a war crime. And the next morning, supplies of vitamin B12 are delivered to the camp, and the prisoners begin to recover. Now, I'm not telling you this story because I think Archie Cochrane is a dude, although Archie Cochrane is a dude. I'm not even telling you this story because I think we should be running more carefully controlled, randomized trials in all aspects of public policy, although I think that would also be completely awesome. I'm telling you this story because Archie Cochrane, all his life, fought against a terrible affliction. And he realized it was debilitating to individuals, and it was corrosive to societies. And he had a name for it. He called it the God complex. Now, I can describe the symptoms of the God complex very, very easily. So the symptoms of the God complex are, no matter how complicated the problem, you have an absolutely overwhelming belief that you are infallibly right in your solution. Now, Archie was a doctor. So he hung around with doctors a lot, and doctors suffer from the God complex a lot. Now, I'm an economist, I'm not a doctor, but I see the God complex around me all the time in my fellow economists. I see it in our business leaders. I see it in the politicians we vote for. People who, in the face of an incredibly complicated world, are nevertheless absolutely convinced that they understand the way that the world works. And with the future billions that we've been hearing about, the world is simply far too complex to understand in that way. But let me give you an example. Imagine for a moment that instead of Tim Harford in front of you, there was Hans Rosling. presenting his graphs. You know Hans, you know, the Mick Jagger of TED. And he'd be showing you these amazing statistics, these amazing animations, and they are brilliant, it's wonderful work. But a typical Hans Rosling graph, think for a moment not what it shows, but think instead about what it leaves out. So it'll show you GDP per capita, population, longevity. That's about it. So 3 pieces of data for each country. 3 pieces of data. 3 pieces of data is nothing. I mean, have a look at this graph. This is produced by the physicist Cesar Hidalgo. He's at MIT. And you won't be able to understand a word of it, but you know, this is what it looks like. Cesar has trawled a database of over 5,000 different products. And he's used techniques of network analysis to interrogate this database and to graph relationships between the different products. And it's wonderful, wonderful work. You show all these interconnections, all these interrelations. And I think it'll be profoundly useful in understanding how it is that economies grow. Brilliant work. Cesar and I tried to write a piece for the New York Times magazine explaining how this worked, and what we learned was Cesar's work is far too good to explain in the New York Times magazine. But 5,000 products, that's still nothing. 5,000 products. Imagine counting every product category in Cesar Hidalgo's data. Imagine you had 1 second per product category. In about the length of this session, you would have counted all 5,000. Now imagine doing the same thing for every different type of product on sale in Walmart. There are 100,000 there. It would take you all day. Now imagine trying to count every different specific product and service on sale in a major economy such as Tokyo, London, or New York. It's even more difficult in Edinburgh because you have to count all the whiskey and the tartan. Okay? If you wanted to count every product and service on offer in New York, there are 10 billion of them, it would take you 317 years. This is how complex the economy we've created is. And I'm just counting toasters here. I'm not trying to solve the Middle East problem. I mean, this is, the complexity here is unbelievable. On just a piece of context, the societies in which our brains evolved had about 300 products and services. You can count them in 5 minutes. So this is the complexity of the world that surrounds us. This perhaps is why we find the God complex so tempting. We tend to sort of retreat and say, oh, we can draw a picture, we can show some graphs, and we get it. We understand how this works. And we don't. We never do. Now, I'm not trying to deliver a nihilistic message here. I'm not trying to say we can't solve complicated problems in a complicated world. We clearly can, but the way we solve them is with humility, to abandon the God complex and to actually use a problem-solving technique that works. And we have a problem-solving technique that works. Now, you show me a successful, complex system, and I will show you a system that has evolved through trial and error. Here's an example. This baby was produced through trial and error. I realize that's an ambiguous statement. Maybe I should clarify it. This baby, it's a human body. It evolved. What is evolution? Over millions of years, variation and selection. Variation and selection. Trial and error. Trial and error. And it's not just biological systems that produce miracles through trial and error. And you could use it in an industrial context. So let's say you wanted to make detergent. Let's say you're Unilever and you want to make detergent in a factory near Liverpool. How do you do it? Well, you have this great big tank full of liquid detergent. You pump it at a high pressure through a nozzle. You create a spray of detergent. Then the spray dries, it turns into powder, it falls to the floor. You scoop it up, you put it in cardboard boxes, you sell it at a supermarket, you make lots of money. How do you design that nozzle? Turns out to be very important. Now, if you ascribe to the God complex, what you do is you find yourself a little god. You find yourself a mathematician, you find yourself a physicist, somebody who understands the dynamics of this fluid, and he will or she will calculate the optimal design of the nozzle. Now, Unilever did this, and it didn't work. Too complicated. Even this problem, too complicated. But the geneticist, Professor Steve Jones, describes how Unilever actually did solve this problem. Trial and error. variation and selection. You take a nozzle and you create 10 random variations on the nozzle. You try out all 10. You keep the one that works best. You create 10 variations on that one. You try out all 10. You keep the one that works best. You try out 10 variations on that one. You see how this works, right? And after 45 generations, you have this incredible nozzle, looks a bit like a chess piece, functions absolutely brilliantly. We have no idea why it works. No idea at all. But the moment you step back from the God complex and you say, let's just try a bunch of stuff, let's have a systematic way of determining what's working and what's not, you can solve your problem. Now, this process of trial and error is actually far more common in successful institutions than we care to recognize. And we've heard a lot about how economies function. The US economy is still the world's greatest economy. How did it become the world's greatest economy? I mean, I could give you all kinds of facts and figures about the US economy. I think the most salient one is this. 10% of American businesses disappear every year. That is a huge failure rate. It's far higher than the failure rate for, say, Americans. 10% of Americans don't disappear every year, which leads us to conclude, American businesses fail faster than Americans, and therefore American businesses are evolving faster than Americans, and eventually they'll have evolved to such a high peak of perfection that they will make us all their pets. If, of course, they haven't already done so. I sometimes wonder. But it's this process of trial and error that explains this great divergence, this incredible performance of Western economies. It didn't come because you put some incredibly smart person in charge. It's come through trial and error. Now, I've been sort of banging on about this for the last couple of months, and people sometimes say to me, hey, well, Tim, it's kind of obvious. Obviously, trial and error is very important. Obviously, experimentation is very important. Why are you just sort of wandering around saying this obvious thing? And I say, okay, fine. You think it's obvious. I will admit it's obvious when schools start teaching children that there are some problems that don't have a correct answer. Stop giving them lists of questions, every single one of which has an answer, and there's an authority figure in the corner behind the teacher's desk who knows all the answers, and if you can't find the answers, you must be lazy or stupid. When schools stop doing that all the time, I will admit that yes, it's obvious that trial and error is a good thing. When a politician stands up, campaigning for elected office, and says, I want to fix our health system, I want to fix our education system, I have no idea how to do it. I've got a half a dozen ideas. We're going to test them out. They'll probably all fail. Then we'll test some other ideas out. We'll find some that work. We'll build on those. We'll get rid of the ones that don't. When a politician campaigns on that platform, and more importantly, when voters like you and me are willing to vote for that kind of politician, then I will admit that it is obvious that trial and error works, and that, thank you. Until then, I'm going to keep banging on about trial and error and why we should abandon the God complex. Because it's so hard to admit our own infallibility. It's so uncomfortable. And Archie Cochrane understood this as well as anybody. There's this one trial he ran many years after World War II. He wanted to test out the question of where is it that patients should recover from heart attacks? Should they recover in a specialized cardiac unit in hospital, or should they recover at home? All the cardiac doctors tried to shut him down. They had the God complex in spades. They knew that their hospitals were the right place for patients, and they knew it was very unethical to run any kind of trial or experiment. Nevertheless, Archie managed to get permission to do this. He ran his trial. And after the trial had been running for a little while, he gathered together all his colleagues around the table, and he said, well, gentlemen, we have some preliminary results. They are not statistically significant, but we have something, and it turns out you're right, and I'm wrong. It is dangerous for patients to recover from heart attacks at home. They should be in hospital. And there's this uproar, and all the doctors start pounding the table and saying, we always said you're unethical, Archie. You're killing people with your clinical trials. You need to shut it down now. Shut it down at once. And there's this huge hubbub. Archie lets it die down. And then he says, well, that's very interesting, gentlemen, because when I gave you the table of results, I swapped the 2 columns around. It turns out your hospitals are killing people, and they should be at home. Would you like to close down the trial now, or shall we wait until we have robust results? Tumbleweed rolls through the meeting room. But Cochrane would do that kind of thing. And the reason he would do that kind of thing is because he understood. It feels so much better to stand there and say, yeah, in my own little world, I am a god, I understand everything. I do not want to have my opinions challenged. I do not want to have my conclusions tested. It feels so much more comfortable simply to lay down the law. Cochrane understood that uncertainty, that fallibility, that being challenged, they hurt. And you sometimes need to be shocked out of that. I'm not going to pretend that this is easy. It isn't easy. It's incredibly painful. And since I started talking about this subject and researching this subject, I've been really haunted by something the Japanese mathematician said on the subject. So shortly after the war, this young man, Yutaka Taniyama, developed this amazing conjecture called the Taniyama-Shimura Conjecture. It turned out to be absolutely instrumental many decades later in proving Fermat's last theorem. In fact, it turns out it's equivalent to proving Fermat's last theorem. You prove one, you prove the other. But it was always a conjecture. Taniyama tried and tried and tried, and he could never prove that it was true. And shortly before his 30th birthday, in 1958, Yutaka Taniyama killed himself. His friend, Shimura, who worked on the mathematics with him, many decades later, reflected on Taniyama's life. He said, he was not a very careful person as a mathematician. He made a lot of mistakes. But he made mistakes in a good direction. I tried to emulate him, but I realized it's very difficult to make good mistakes. Thank you.
Right. It's a bit long, but I think there was plenty of interesting things in there. Okay? Yeah? It's a nice summary of what we've seen. Okay? Anything you want to say about this? No? Yeah.
It's a bit about just like conservative people versus like people who are like more progressive, try to challenge like the current existing world of like ways of thinking. It's just like it's kind of an old debate, like evolutionists versus people who want to be like noise.
Yeah, in a way, but I don't think it's there's no. I don't think there's any political message. Okay.
No, it's political, I just think it's like a way of thinking. Not
definitely. Okay, and I think the last message about this mathematician is quite nice. Okay, that it's very hard to make good mistakes. Okay, that means that you have to do mistakes basically. Okay, and let yourself go and make mistakes is not easy, but that's the only way, clearly, for him to move forward. Right? Okay. More things on this? No? Yeah.
Well, I think quite interesting that it goes against a trend on risk management and risk-averse culture in some companies. So you try to mitigate and cover your risk, therefore you don't do much stuff.
True.
And then you try to do many mistakes.
Exactly.
So it's
Yeah. That's it, the only way to understand how a complex system works is just to shake it, right? And if you know about Netflix, Google, and others, okay, their IT systems are so complex that they cannot understand really, when it fails, why it fails, and what they should do about it, okay? So what they do is purposefully, they create situations that are going to put their IT system in danger, okay? Without telling anybody, they shut down things and see what happens, okay? They control this, but that's the only way they found, okay, to learn how the complex IT system work, by stimulating the IT system, okay? All this with the idea, of course, to provide the best quality service to the customers, okay? So that's an interesting aspect, okay? how do I put my organization in a strength situation to understand how it works. Okay, that's a different approach on things. Okay, right. I'm done with this. I want to give you time on your final project. Okay, so I think we can start. You can start working, or you can have a break now and start working after. Okay, right? A short break, eh? Yeah. Okay. Unless you have anything, any comments, any suggestion, anything else to say. No? You okay? So let's have a 20 minutes break. Okay, meaning that you know, at 10:30 we should be back here, and then let's have time to work on your final project. You fine with this? Yes? Okay, let's do it.